All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and to just get the cat out of the bag, out of the gate, they're winning 10 games. The Pittsburgh Steelers next season will win 10 games. I love their schedule. I loved their offseason. I loved their draft. I love their coach. I'm feeling very confident on the Pittsburgh Steelers next season and in the long run, essentially. I know you're in the AFC North. I know it's as gritty, grindy as they come. So what's Pittsburgh been doing? Well, they're building a physical team. And to my surprise, across the media world, I'm not seeing too much praise for the Pittsburgh Steelers offseason or draft in general. I look at this squad and I look specifically, like, one of my favorite sayings in football is he who controls the line controls the game. And I take a look at Pittsburgh last season, first half, their offensive line, not great, right? They made some tweaks, they made some adjustments the previous offseason, and things started to click towards the end of the season. We saw 4 straight wins for the Pittsburgh Steelers against difficult opponents to finish off the season. So if they won 9 games last year, I'm thinking they're going to improve record-wise next year. Obviously, the eye test, the Steelers are certainly going to improve. I get it. Kenny is a second-year quarterback, and he's going to continue to have some struggles at times, maybe some inconsistencies. But long-term, seriously, I love this Steelers team. Speaking of the line, my point was, what did they do, man? They made a phenomenal draft pick in Broderick Jones, all right, offensive tackle, pick number 14 out of Georgia. I love SEC football players. If you've been watching this channel, you know that. They also picked up Isaac Sumalu. This guy was a 17-game starter for the Philadelphia Eagles last season. He fits in multiple schemes, and Eagles fans, the second they lost him, are already missing him. This is a proven lineman. And at that guard position, he severely, or positively bolsters your line. You also brought in Nate Herbig. I love his versatility. So they made some phenomenal moves on the offensive line. But before we get any further into today's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. This is my first ever Steelers video. So Steelers fans, if we get this video to 100 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. All right. Even outside of their offseason, you know what? Let's just get into the offseason. Allen Robinson, all right? Allen Robinson. If Allen Robinson is healthy, oh my goodness, yes, please. Kenny Pickett's going to love him. Solidified wide receiver 3 behind Dante Johnson and George Pickens, who had a phenomenal rookie season. 52 catches, 801 yards, 4 touchdowns. That's 15.4 yards per reception. So I'm liking the versatility at that wide receiver position in general. But now you bring in Allen Robinson. The last time we saw Allen Robinson fully healthy in a season was with the Chicago Bears back in 2020. He had over 100 receptions. He had over 1,250 yards, and he had 6 touchdowns. This is a former Pro Bowler. He's still only 29. I really think this is the season. Allen Robinson gets and stays healthy and makes a huge impact on this team. But moving on to the defensive side of things, just offseason in general, you know, they had some safety issues, I guess you could say. Well, what did they do? Well, they brought in Patrick Peterson, and that surprised a lot of people, all right? 5 interceptions last season with Minnesota. Didn't end just there at the safety position. You bring in Keanu Neal. Love it. I absolutely love it. That's not it on the defensive side. They kind of overturned their entire linebacker position, which I was a huge fan of. The additions they brought in, specifically Elandon Roberts. I think this is a money move. Last year at Miami, 4.5 sacks, 107 tackles. All right, so that rush defense was not a huge strength for the Steelers defense last season. Elandon Roberts is going to help that day one. It doesn't end just there. They also brought in Cole Holcomb. He's going to have a huge impact as well. His last season was limited by injuries. He only played 7 games. And so I think people kind of forgot about him, right? In free agency, so what happens? Well, if he's healthy, you're getting over 100 tackles right there. In Holcomb's last healthy season, which was 2021, so 2 years ago, he had 2 interceptions. Impressive for a linebacker. 142 tackles. 142 tackles. So that's like what, 250 total tackles combined right there. Larry Ogunjobi also coming back. But speaking of that defensive line, Keanu Benton, defensive tackle out of Wisconsin at that nose tackle position, round 2, pick 49. Another money move. Another money move. He had what, like double-digit tackles for loss last year at Wisconsin. He's going to help bolster that rush defense immediately. Day one from the second round goes hand in hand with their philosophy right now, building a physical team. Joey Porter Jr., cornerback from Penn State, round 2, pick number 32. Joey Porter Jr., another guy, day 1 impact. He's going to come in. And keep in mind, TJ Watt missed a bunch of games last season. And keep in mind, last year was the first season under a defensive coordinator. So even just point blank, if they ran the same roster last year, which, by the way, all the players I just mentioned were huge bolsters to their defense, year 2 under a new DC is always going to be better. Unless the guy's doggy, but not this case. So that defense next season, it's going to be severely improved. And even just looking at statistics, they were a top 10 defense as far as opponent point per game goes. They gave up just 20.4 points per game, which is good for 10th in the NFL. And that's why I want to pinpoint pretty much the last 6 of their football games. So week 7 or week 18 now, right? It's still weird. Still getting used to that. Gave up 14 to Cleveland. The week before that, 13 to Baltimore. The week before, 10 to the Vegas Raiders. Week before, 16 to Carolina, 16 to Baltimore, and 16 to Atlanta. You could even go further to Indianapolis back in November, the final week of November, where they gave up just 17. So that defense really got things going. And just in general, for a team that started 2-6, to finish the year above 500 is insane. They won 6 of their final 7 games. And once again, we point back to, first off, no more rookie Kenny Pickett, sorry. No more rookie in George Pickens. Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, extremely underrated, averaged 5 yards per attempt last season, yards per carry rather. Bringing Allen Robinson, I'm feeling, and bringing all those bodies on the offensive line, that offense is not going to be ranked 26th in points per game next season. And defensively, I loved what they did. So we throw all of that into the bucket with their schedule. We sprinkle it in. We sprinkle in of course I can't, a pot. We throw it all into a pot. And we sprinkle in their strength of schedule, which includes like 7 out of 9 weeks or 7 out of 9 games in the middle of their season. It starts off a little bumpy. In the middle chunk of the Steelers season next year, there's a ton of winnable games. There's a ton of teams in rebuild. There's a ton of teams with inexperienced QBs, a ton of non-playoff teams. I think 7 of those 9 games are non-playoff teams. So I'm looking at the Steelers schedule. I'm looking at the moves they made in the offseason. I'm looking at their existing roster. I'm looking at their coaching staff. I'm looking at their management. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, damn, the AFC North is a complete battle, as it is every single year. But I don't know who even is the worst team in that division, because the worst team in that division isn't even a bad squad. So 10 wins for next year, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking a 10-7 season for the Pittsburgh Steelers next year. Let me know what you guys are thinking down below. As always, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Steelers fans, I appreciate all the hopeful love. I'm definitely planning on making more Steelers videos in the upcoming, or just the entire offseason and season in general. So if we get this video to 100 likes, that would mean the world to me. But guys, most importantly, Steelers fans, NFL fans, let me know. Give me a win-loss projection on this Steelers team next season.